Hello friends, and welcome back to Random Hearts. Welcome to the backyard. Today we are going to cut some flowers from my flower beds. I have a lot of beautiful things still growing. We have not frozen yet, and I would like to share that with some of my coworkers. I have already made several bouquets and taken them into work, and today I want to make two more. So I wanted to share that with you, show you how I arranged these bouquets. Each one is going to be unique because I did ask that anyone who wanted a bouquet bring me a small vase or jar with their name on it. Now, I can't do anything that's very tall because none of my flowers have very tall stems. So that is why I asked for something that was on the shorter side. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and cut some of these flowers and some of the random things I want to get out of the yard, and then we'll take them indoors and arrange them. We are going to begin right here with these Oklahoma salmon. They are a beautiful zinnia that as they age go from this bright pink color to this light peachy pink color. And their varying stages of growth just make them gorgeous. I do want to take mostly fresh blooms here, but I do end up taking some of the light peach because I did want that color in a couple of my combinations. But I am making sure that I am taking the lower leaves off of these. I don't want any of that foliage to rot in the water. And then of course I am sitting them directly into some cool water so that they can soak up that and stay fresh. Now I am working with the Zowie Yellow Flame zinnias right here. Those are probably some of my favorite. I love the color combination with the yellow, the gold, and the fuchsia in their center. But I do have some very beautiful things in this bed, a lot of gorgeous color, and honestly, if we can stay warm and keep these warm temperatures, cutting these flowers right now and pruning these plants will help them to produce more. I will be taking down my sunflowers here in just a couple of days. Those are basically done, and yeah, I will clean up all the foliage I'm dropping on the ground when I am all done with this. But this was a lot of fun, looking for the largest, most beautiful stems possible so that I can make some very gorgeous bouquets for my coworkers. So this next little bit, I had fun with editing. I hope you enjoy this. It took me a little bit of time to figure it out, but I think it is well worth it. This was such a fun video to put together. Plus it made me look at my yard a little differently and think about different things that I could use in these arrangements. I love the texture and color of this purple fountain grass. The height will also complement some of these flowers. And I started thinking, what else do I have? And I had some of these purple blue salvia and some of my white snowland daisies. Beautiful color, a little bit on the wild side, but that is going to be just fine. You'll see in the end that this turns out beautifully. I started looking for things that had a little more of a blue-green tone, and that led me to the lavender leaves here. None of these have stalks, but I am going to use these as fillers in the arrangements. So we pulled a beautiful amount of flowers from the garden today, and I did pull some things that are not considered quote-unquote flowers. I've got some spirea stems right here with some leaves on them and some of those purple fountain grass. I did take some of those along with some of their leaves. I did take some stems from my lavender plants. They are done blooming, so they were going to get trimmed up anyway. But that is what I pulled, and we're going to go ahead and separate those into piles so that I know exactly what I have. Now, most of my flowers do not have any leaves down towards the bottom, but I do have leaves on all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and take all the leaves off of my lavender stalks, which smells amazing. And I've taken them off to about 2/3 of the way up. Remember, these are pretty small vessels, so I won't need to take everything. I want to keep some of those leaves. I want that blue-green color in there, and I definitely want the tall, kind of spiky texture in there as well. And that's all there is to that. I'll just set those to the side. I do have some of my snowland daisies in here, and they're a little bit worse for wear. But what I want to do is I want to take those lower branches off as well. I'm actually going to pinch off anything that is a spent bloom. So I've got most of those right there. And then anything that's down towards the bottom, I just want to take all that leaf structure off. I don't know how well these will hold up in the vase, but we'll see. Sometimes flowers do better in the vase than others. But that's all I'm going to do with those, and I'll cut those down as we go along. Now with these right here, these are the perennial or the annual salvia that I took their blooms off of. I'm going to probably have to take most of that leaf structure off. I might leave a couple pieces, so it'll look kind of like that. And anything that is in the zinnia family, I kind of took their leaf structure off out in the garden. So that is all I will need to do with those. And then on the spirea stock, of course, I'm going to have to take quite a bit of that off as well. And when we get to the purple fountain grass, I want the grassy texture from the leaf. So I am hoping that that is enough that I can put it down in the water and it won't affect the leaf itself. So I'm just going to go through these, and when I get done, I will show you the piles that I've created. Now I have everything in piles right now. I do remove the leaves so that nothing rots when they get down in the water. But these are the spirea right here. This is our lavender. I've got my purple fountain grass right here, a couple of different types of daisies, and this is that annual salvia. I've got lots of different types of zinnias right here. Believe it or not, these are the same zinnia. These are the Oklahoma salmon, but they, as they age, change to different colors. So I have some fresh blooms and I have some not so fresh blooms, but I think these will be good enough for my coworkers in the end. So I want to prepare my vessels. I've got a couple of them right here with my water mixture. This is going to be water and a little bit of plant food. Now you can buy these from Amazon, but I just saved this one from a previous flower arrangement I bought at the grocery store. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. I don't want to put a lot. I find that if I put too much, it gets cloudy. So I'll just save that for another time. Then I'll take my fork and I'm going to mix that up so that I can't see any of that powder anymore down at the bottom. Then I'm going to take my vessel and I'm going to pour that in. I want to be about 2/3 of the way up. I don't want these too full, otherwise I won't be able to transport them. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a frog. That is so that my plant or my flower that I'm putting in here will stand up and not move around on me. Once I get it where I want it, it will not move. Now I've already prepared this one. I did have to cut my tape in half on these, but I am using just plain old masking tape, or not masking tape, but Scotch tape here. And I am just going to build that frog on the outside of this jar. This vessel is not very wide, so I don't want to be cutting this too short, but that should do it for those two going that way. Now I got to go the other direction. I'm not liking that one. I'm going to take that one off. Now you can use chicken wire, you can use other things. Some people like to use foam. I am not a big fan of foam, especially when you've got a clear jar like this one. Foam is not a good option. So I'm going to go ahead and try this again. Now the reason I had to cut this tape in half is because that opening is much smaller. If I had left this wide tape on there, it would have created problems for me when I wanted to put the flowers into the vase. Not quite getting my tape long enough here. The problem here is that I am not getting enough space on the outside to put a full stem between the grid. So I am going to have to redo a couple of these. I think I'm going to redo that one. That one's just not quite long enough. And now I went the other direction and I made it too long. All right, that's all there is to it. Both of those have a frog and we are ready to start arranging. So because this is kind of a creative process, I kind of had to decide right up front how I wanted to put this together, and I want this one in my center. So this is my tallest flower. I want to measure to see where that's actually sitting, and I'm going to cut that off about right there where that node is. Now normally I would do this under running water, but because I can't do that with one camera, it doesn't work real well. The next thing I want to put in here is some of these zinnias, and I am doing this in odd numbers. So I've got 5 of these, and I have 1 of the main focus flower. And I just want to make sure that all 5 of these are about the same length. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to try to line them up pretty evenly, and they're pretty close right now. I've got one that's really, really short there, so I'm going to go ahead and cut those. And then I'm going to put them into my vase around this tall one here. And because this is something that you just kind of have to look at how it's going together and rearrange as you go, I'm not guaranteeing this is what it's going to look like in the end. So I've got my one single daisy right here. I want that to be kind of in my center as well. Just going to trim that end off. When you're trimming, you want to kind of give it an angle, and that should work right there. I did leave a leaf on here. You can see that it's not ever going to be down in the water. These are the daisies. I'm going to save those more towards the end, I think. And then I've got these right here. All of these are going to go on this outside edge. I want these to be fairly short. So I've got a short one right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut all of them to that length. Then I'll just throw those in around the outside edges. I had 7 of these. Now hopefully that frog will hold these in place and keep them from moving around too much. And I'm liking the way that looks. I'm going to put one of those in the center there. I didn't like the length of this one, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that one up a little more. Okay, I'm liking that distribution pretty well. I've got 3 of these zinnias that I'm going to put in here, and I do need to take a few more of the leaves off. And I want those to sit somewhere in a mid-range, so kind of right about here. So I think that will look good there. Yeah, I kind of like that. And take that one out. And I will try to cut all of them about that same length. Trying to keep this even. I don't want this to be too much on one side than the other, so I'm going to turn it, kind of see how it's looking right now. I'm liking that. I do think that this one needs to switch with this one, because this one is a little taller. That looks pretty good to begin with. Now I want to get my daisies in there. So I've got, these are the Snowland daisies. They've got a little more foliage on them, so I do want these to kind of hang out over the edges. So they are going to sit towards the edge of the plant, of the vase. Like I said, I don't know how these will do. I have never put them in an arrangement before. I don't know how they'll do with the water. But because this one is so tall, I want this one right in the center, kind of hanging out over the edge. It is a little bit, I might take that nub off the end. I don't expect these flowers to last very long. They probably will only last a couple of days, but they will give someone some enjoyment for at least those couple of days, and that's all I am looking for. So I didn't like where that one was located. I'm going to move it. I'm actually not liking its length very well. I'm going to take a little bit of that length off. We'll get that down in there and get that to popping up. So I've got 3 of those little daisy flowers right there. I got a daisy on this side, the larger one, and I think I've got one more that I'd like to pop in here on this side. So that looks like a good location right there. Just gives a little more of that white on that side. Now I want to put in my purple spires from my salvia. And I think that is just going to bring this all together really quickly. And I did have 4 of these, so I am going to put one down here in this section. Don't worry if you can see the frog. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. That one's going to actually hide under there. So I'll pull that one out and move it to a different position. That looks like a better position right there. Okay. That looks pretty good, and then all I've got left is that purple fountain grass. So I'm going to clear my counter real quick here. And I'm liking how this is looking right now. I do feel like I might need another one of these, or I need to move this one a little further to the center so it actually is my centerpiece. Yeah, I think I like that better. I might take a tiny bit of length off of it. I feel like it's just a little taller than the rest of the flowers in the arrangement, and it's kind of taken over already because of its color, but I don't want its height to take over too. So that looks pretty good right there. And let's go ahead and get our purple fountain grass in there. I think this one is a perfect length right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put that right in the center here. Yeah, I like that quite a lot. This one is a little too long. I'm going to take some of its length off. And again, I used 3 of these because I want to stay in those odd numbers. They really do make it pop, and it seems more natural that way. I've got a lot of different textures in here, and I want to make sure that even though I've got a lot of different colors and a lot of different textures, they're all working together. They all look great, and I'm pretty happy with that one. I think we'll just leave that one alone, and that one is finished. Just kidding, I want to put these in there too, so we're going to go ahead and put these into that arrangement. I want them to sit kind of towards the center. And then I'm going to put one back here. All right, I like that. I like the way that's looking. It's a little busy, but like I said, all of these are going to be unique. So for this next arrangement, I'm probably going to speed up quite a bit of the footage because I've already talked to you about some of the things that I look at when I am putting my flowers together. But I've got my single flower in the center here. I will not be using all of the flowers I have here. I actually have another one of these that I'm going to put into a vase for my own home. It is not as crisp and as beautiful or as fresh as that one, but I am using the same idea. I've got 7 of these peachy colored ones here, and like I said, I will just speed up the footage and we'll get this one put together. Flower arranging, like any creative process, will look different every single time. Even if you are using the same flowers and the same vase, something in that arrangement will change and look different. And I did not care for the rose, the uproar rose zinnia in the center. I felt like it was too big and too bold for what I was trying to go for in this arrangement. I wanted something wispy, a little more on the natural side, maybe a little more like wildflowers. And I end up not using the purple fountain grass in this one either. I do use an Oklahoma salmon for the central flower in this. I just used one of the fresher blooms, and I think it turned out beautifully. Well, friends, that's going to do it for us for this video. I hope that it has been helpful for you. We got a couple of very beautiful bouquets that I am going to take to some coworkers. In fact, I have a coworker that is in the hospital right now, so this one is going to go to her, and the other one is going to one of our secretaries at our school. But I hope this has been helpful. I tried to use all the flowers, but I ended up, you saw, taking the one that was in this one out because I did not like the color combination. But I appreciate you coming along with me as I put these flower arrangements together. This was a lot of fun for me. I've had a lot of fun doing it over the last several days, and I just thought maybe I should share this with you and how I put them together. So if you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and push that subscribe button. We would love to have you as part of our community. We hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye!